Hello, Flame community. This is Jeff Kyle with the Flame Learning Channel. In the previous video, we went over the basic type node controls, covering the attributes, axis, alignment, scoping, and reset controls. In this video, we'll cover the type node's advanced controls, specifically designed for creating motion graphics text animations. Starting in the Attributes tab, under General, we have this Mask section, allowing us to create a keyframeable mask reveal effect. The default is disabled, but we have options to mask from either the top, bottom, left, or right side of the layer. If I set this dropdown to right and enable the Show Line field, a green line appears indicating where the mask is located. If I turn on Auto Key, I can set a keyframe for the Position field, scrub forward in time, and set another keyframe to quickly reveal the text. Alternatively, if I don't animate the mask's position, but ensure I have masking turned on, we can use the Axis tab to keyframe the paragraph field for the type to create another type of simple text reveal. I'll set a keyframe for this first position, scrub forward in time, and set another keyframe with the original position, then quickly adjust the keyframes in the animation editor to smooth it all out. We can see we have our type mask reveal animation in no time at all. Moving on to the Axis tab, we have this Path section allowing us to animate type on a spline. When I activate it, we see our selected type layer is now in the center of a 3-point spline. We can adjust the points by dragging them in the viewport, adjusting both their position and their handles. This Path Edit Mode option here allows us to add, delete, or move points on the spline, or set the points to auto tangents based on their new position, or break the tangents. Underneath the Active button, we can enable Closed to close the spline, creating a continuous loop. This Invert button reverses the order of the vertices, making the text follow the opposite side of the path. Offset lets us position the text on the spline, and the Clear button resets the text path to its default state. If I set a keyframe to offset with the text off screen, scrub forward a bit, set another keyframe here in position, and just smooth out our keyframes in the animation editor, we can see the type following the path of the spline just like that. Cascade is a powerful feature that allows us to use time offsets to create complex animations with minimal keyframing. I'm going to start by turning off icons over here so we can see the text a little clearer, but here I have some text and I'm going to animate the opacity here in the Attributes tab under Characters, and it's important that it's under Characters and not Layer for reasons we'll see in just a moment. But I'll keyframe opacity at 0 here at the start, and then change it to 100 10 frames later. This is what it looks like without Cascade. Now, when I head to the Cascade tab, we have this time offset field, and when I set this to an offset of 1 frame, Cascade is enabled and we see what it does. Since I animated the character opacity, now that I'm doing a cascade with a time offset of 1, each character going left to right animates from 0 opacity to 100% opacity, and after every frame, the next character begins that 10-frame opacity animation until we reach the end of the layer. Let's take a look at some of the options here. When it's set to symmetric, our cascade takes place at the middle point of the text and animates outward. Right to left is the opposite of left to right. Custom Anchor lets us specify from which character the cascade animates outward. And Random has the cascade begin on random characters with the option to adjust the random seed right here. Here in the next shot, I have more than just a single line so we can understand how grouping and scoping works within the context of Cascade. I have the same opacity example, 10-frame animation on character opacity, but grouping lets us specify what is affected by the 1-frame offset. Before, it was each character, but I can set it to each word, each line, or each paragraph. And of course, now that we're going beyond character, it might make more sense to increase the time offset just a bit to make the delay a bit more pronounced. The scoping field lets us choose which parts of the layer cascade animation are synchronized. We've already seen layer, where the cascade treats the layer as a single unit, and so it's one cascade effect. But when we change the scoping to paragraph, since we have 2 paragraphs here, we have 2 per character opacity cascades taking place, 1 for each paragraph. When we set it to line, since we have 5 lines, we have 5 per character opacity cascades taking place. And finally, when we set it to word, every 5 frames, our 10-frame opacity animation is taking place per character for each word until the animation completes. This example demonstrates working with opacity, but Cascade works with nearly all of the keyframeable fields in the Attributes or Axis tabs, making for quite a large list of combinations of animations that are possible. We have a few options for saving these animations or for saving the way our type looks. One way of saving them is over here in the upper right area. We can use this Save button and then choose to save it as a preset. We have the option to save this either in our user location or in a shared location, but it's important to understand the distinction between 2 of these options here. A type style preserves the attributes and axis settings, and a type setup preserves the animation. Another way to save a type style is with the Explorer. When I use the context menu on any layer in the viewport, I have this option of saving the style to the Explorer, either saving it into the General Explorer with top level or into any folder organization I might have with selected item. Once that's saved, if I have a different scene with a different type layer, I can simply select my layer and double-click my saved layer style to apply it. But when I apply a style from the Explorer, we're met with this dialog box that chooses how the style is applied, to our current layer selection, to the whole segment, which would span multiple layers, to the whole track, or to all tracks in the whole version track in the sequence. If I have a specific look to my legal text that I use for every job, and I want to save that look as a style, I can select it in the layer list, hit Save, choose Presets, select Style, and give it the name Legal, and hit Save. Now, when I go into a new shot, type up my new legal, even if I'm using the wrong font, wrong color, wrong size, I can use this preset dropdown to load the legal style, and I get the style I just set that matches my established look with the text I just typed up. Note that we don't have the same scoping options that we have when we use the Explorer, but that preset dropdown spans multiple projects and in my case is saved in my user's setup. If I head back to a Cascade animation that I like, and I want to use that for future animations, I can select it in the layer list, hit Save, set it to Preset, save it as a setup, and give it a name like Opacity 10-Frame Cascade. Now, when I go to a different shot, I can type up a new line here and head to this preset drop-down button to choose the preset I just made. Since I already have a layer in my type node, I'm met with this dialog box asking me if I want to replace my text I have on the screen with the saved preset text, if I want to append the text so it's added as another layer, or the default, which is to apply the animation and style to my selected type layer. My newly typed layer has the animation and style applied, and if the duration of the saved preset doesn't match the new scene, the keyframe data is scaled to fit the time bar. There is a lot to the new type node, especially with the new power we have with the Cascade animation tools, but we are just scratching the surface. Hopefully these examples will get you up to speed so you can use the type node yourself on your next project. If you like these videos and you're finding them helpful, please subscribe to the Flame Learning channel and click the bell to stay notified about new content. Feel free to comment any questions or suggestions below. Until next time, thanks a bunch for watching.